Hey, speaking about people's wives getting, what do you think about Offset and Cardi B? Cardi B supposedly fucked some guy when she was 8 months pregnant. She said it's time to. She said when a Libra starts Libraing, that's what happens.
I mean, I think it's sad that all this is happening right after a baby was born. The fact that she's getting divorced as she's about to give birth, and as soon as she does give birth, now they're publicly spatting about who they were along the way, and she's posting text messages how he wants to date with her on the phone, and it's just a lot of stuff that honestly I feel is kind of child abuse to a certain degree, because the kids, their oldest is probably old enough to see this kind of stuff.
The oldest is 6.
That young?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so probably a little bit too young, but they're going to quickly get to an age where they'll be able to access all this stuff and see all this online. And I just think that
people are torn on this.
It's so unnecessary. It's honestly bad parenting, from my point of view. And people are going to get on me about this, but that's fine. I think that when you're a parent, you should take a step back and think about how it's going to affect the kids as opposed to what's going through your mind right now emotionally. I think both of them needs to be quiet and raise their children and try to keep their problems to themselves if they actually love their kids. And I think a lot of times what happens with couples is they'll hate each other more than they love their kids. And that's the sad part to me.
Yeah, no. Yes, well, it was the day before yesterday that it all went down. It was kind of surprising watching like the back and forth. People were torn by it. People were like, well, the worst part about it is that she had sex while pregnant, and some people were like,
if it's true.
No, she admitted it.
Did she though, or she just
what? She said I started talking to dudes June 24th. And then when he commented, hey, you fucked while my baby was in the belly, she posted on Twitter and did. Like, I mean, that's like a term that.
Well, yeah.
That's like when he say period.
Yeah, but you don't know. You don't know how much of that is just internet back and forth. You know what I'm saying? She may not have fucked anybody, or she may have had a boyfriend this whole time, and yeah, I fucked him while pregnant, but I was fucking him before I was pregnant too. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you don't really know the specifics.
Do you think that's foul if she did?
I think that once you start bringing personal relationships onto the internet and you start accusing people publicly and it turns into a public bashing, all the rules are out the table. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like me and Marlon Wayans, like he said some out-of-pocket shit about me and I said some out-of-pocket shit about him. Like, if we were both like mature, none of this would have happened. But I was an asshole and I said a bunch of shit, and then he got mad and he turned into an asshole and said a bunch of shit, and that's what happens, and everyone wants to get the crowd behind them and whatever else, and it turns into lies and half-truths and things, to make the other person look bad, and sometimes you get fake text messages, fake voicemails, like, I mean, people pop out claiming certain things, and and I've been a victim, like I talked about earlier, like Johnny Blaze was mad at me and put up some stuff which ended up not being true, and she ultimately, she was mad at me that I put up a Drake, flashback about her, when her and Drake were in a good place. She put up, a few things which were not true. There's a picture that wasn't me, and there's a text message that also wasn't me, and me and her communicated at one point, and she posted up saying, okay, I don't know if any of this stuff is true. I randomly got it in an email. There was no, I'm saying I can't, and like I said, there's a guy with earrings in the picture. Like, that's not me. I've never had earrings. You can look at my ears. I don't have scars at all.
Yeah.
You can literally look at every picture I've ever taken since I was a kid, and you'll never see earrings on me. But there was a picture posted of me. It was a guy with his head, like, it was a funny picture because, like, it was a white dude with his legs like over his head.
Oh, word.
In some weird compromising position.
Jeez.
And they're trying to say that was me, and I'm like, well, the skin tone is right, the hair looks somewhat similar, but this really is not me. And the face is all fuzzed out, so you can't tell. So it was like, yo, you get a bunch of weird shit that happens, and it all comes with it. But I kind of feel like, yo, if you really love your kids, you wouldn't do shit like this. Yeah. You just wouldn't do shit like this. And if the other person starts, you hit the person up privately and say, listen, like, I'm not going to engage in this. Can you please take that down, and can you please stop? We could argue in private. We shouldn't be doing this publicly. You know, I know that the media eats it up and whatever else, and maybe this is promo for Cardi's new album or Offset's new project, but I'm not a fan of any of this stuff.
I predicted that they're going to be back together by Christmas.
Yeah, they might be.
He said, listen, I got you pregnant, I won. He ain't going nowhere.
They have 3 kids.
They got 3 kids. It's Cardi B. If this was some bum-ass chick, I could see Offset say, let me go start over with another woman. Because usually the guy, since they're not as, probably the kids aren't going to be with them primarily, it's easier to just go start over with another one. But it's Cardi B. Like, you're with one of the biggest rappers in the world. She has 3 of your kids. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? So I think they're gonna work it out. I've predicted by Christmas we're gonna see a Christmas picture, and by next year they're gonna probably like renew vows or something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they've gone through this before. Yeah, they've gone through the breakup.
She's filed for divorce before.
Yeah,
and then canceled it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I honestly like them as a couple. I think they seem kind of compatible with each other, honestly. And I've never heard of Cardi fucking anybody else. You hear stories of Offset messing with like Krishan Rock, but they're separated during that time, from what Whack 100 said. Yeah, man, I'm not a fan because the kid's involved. If it was just the 2 of them, have at it.
They'll work it out.